From Pittsburgh, we're getting word now that a bizarre attack tied to politics wasn't what it seemed. A 20-year-old Texas woman had told police that she was mugged at an ATM, then brutalized when her mugger spotted a John McCain sticker on her car. The alleged victim, a McCain campaign volunteer, said that her attacker carved the letter B in her face. Well, police got suspicious when the woman's story changed the more that she told it. Finally, they gave her a polygraph, and now TV station KDKA is reporting that the woman confessed to making the whole thing up. Police say she will face charges. We are monitoring a live news conference that's taking place right now. We're going to bring you more information as we get from this. Now, just when oil prices start falling.
We knew about this story yesterday. We here at CNN made a decision, a conscious decision, that if anything, it might be an isolated case, and more importantly, the facts of the case still needed to be checked out before we aired the story. Unfortunately, many media outlets jumped on it and have been reporting this. Talk radio, of course, went nuts with this story and has been talking about it for the last 24 hours. And now it turns out that really anybody who mentioned this story, at least in that sense, has a lot of egg on their face.
Do we know anything about her?
She's a campaign worker, grew up in Texas, went to Pennsylvania, was there for the last couple of weeks, had been working on the campaign.
Do we know if she did this to herself?
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it? As a matter of fact, yeah, we've got a news conference coming in from police in just a couple of moments.
Okay.
She's telling police, originally she told them that she was robbed. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, campaign worker for John McCain goes to Pittsburgh, PA, tells police that while she was at an ATM, she was robbed. And then when the person who robbed her saw that she had a McCain bumper sticker on her car, he went after her and held her to the ground, attacked her, and even put that B on her cheek that you see right there.
Bottom line, all a hoax.
All a hoax.
I'm going to be talking about it more.
Yeah, a lot
sad,
more,
if anything.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Because this is the kind of thing that a lot of people will be talking about even more now that it's a hoax than they were before.
Rick, thanks.
Sure. Means the biggest story that we're following for you right now has to do with what turns out to be a hoax, a story that we here at CNN chose yesterday not to go with because it seemed like either A, an isolated incident, or B, and maybe both, an incident that needed to be really thoroughly vetted and checked out before it was reported by any news organization. Unfortunately, it was reported by several news organizations, and as a result, the story is now looking like it has to be turned around. It's about this young lady. Her name is Ashley Todd. She is 20 years old. You see that B there on her cheek. Her story is that yesterday, while she was at an ATM in Pittsburgh, she was taking out money when she was robbed by a, quote, big black man. 6'4", she said that he was. Apparently that man, she went on to say, held her to the ground, attacked her, and then carved that B on her cheek. She called the police, reported it, and since then the story has been going around talk radio and several news organizations. It is now being reported by police in Pittsburgh that the story was a lie, that it was made up, that what she said about that man putting that B and being a supporter of Barack Obama and telling her that she needed to support Barack Obama, according to these reports, was a lie. In fact, the Pittsburgh police has reported as such. This is Marita Bryant. She is an assistant chief for the Pittsburgh Police Department. She came on moments ago to give reporters some of the details. Let's take a listen.
All of our radars went up, but this was such a case to where, I mean, we had some serious cases going on, and this wasted so much time. It wasted so much time. Detectives have been working through the night just to verify the information that we suspected was false from the very beginning. So it's just a lot of wasted man hours.
And there was a racial inference here as well.
It could have really blown up into something, a national incident, and I'm glad that we quickly resolved the case and found the truth.
Just to give you some more details on this story, as the report came out yesterday, she told police that she was attacked, as I had aforementioned, attacked by a 6'4" black man. He says that she said to him, "You are going to be a Barack supporter," pinned her to the ground and scratched the letter B on her right cheek. As you can see there. In a later account, she came on to say that she actually lost consciousness and wasn't quite sure how much money he had taken or when he had actually scarred her face. That's when police started to wonder whether her story was really going to check out. They had her take a polygraph, a lie detector exam. She failed the test. That's when police moved on. Prior to the police deciding that the story needed to be checked out, she had gotten reports Thursday and had prompted the calls from the Republican presidential candidate and his running mate, Sarah Palin, to call Todd to express their concern. Barack Obama's campaign had also called and issued a statement wishing Todd well and hoping the attacker would be swiftly brought to justice. Again, part of the story is the fact that it was reported by the media. We would not be telling the story now had it not been carried by so many outlets. As I mentioned before, it was mentioned on, as a matter of fact, I have a list, not to mention names, but the initials of the news organizations are Fox News, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and Newsday. Also, radio talk show hosts went on their radio stations and talked ad infinitum about this story yesterday. One of them even seemingly being braggadocious about it when he was on the air with our own Wolf Blitzer yesterday. Take a listen.
The big story of the afternoon, Wolf, is that a McCain campaign volunteer was assaulted in Pittsburgh, had the letter B carved in her cheek. Yesterday, Norm Coleman's house in Minnesota was attacked. He was threatened. The FBI is investigating. There's a lot of extraordinarily disturbed people out there. They're on both sides, but the big issues the last 2 days have come from that side.
By the way, we should mention that the McCain campaign does want us to point out that she was a phone bank operator for the McCain campaign. She was not a paid worker of the campaign. She was a volunteer for the John McCain campaign. It is an important point to point out. As we continue following this story, we plan to be able to get some more reaction from Pittsburgh. We'll also be joined in just a little bit by talk show host Neil Bortz. He's going to be giving us his take on this story. And obviously, as we continue to flesh out the details, we will bring you more. In the meantime, we're also going to be following the story out of... Back, I'm Rick Sanchez, picking up on a story we were just talking about moments ago. Neil Bortz has just entered the studio, sitting to my right. Neil Bortz is a conservative talk show host who reaches a libertarian talk show host who reaches some 5 million people a day. And he had this story, he says, nailed this morning.
Well, last night, when the story came through, I'm doing my program notes, and I put in my program notes, there's something wrong here. This doesn't add up. And then, because I slept poorly, I took it out when I posted the notes. But by the time I went on the air this morning, I'm saying me and my sidekick, Royal Marshall, were saying, this is not right. This is bogus. There's something really wrong here. And oh, I got the hate mail.
Did you?
Oh, you're calling this girl a liar. Who are you to call this girl a liar? You're in the tank for Barack Obama. Yeah, right. And but this one was pretty easy to figure out early on.
Well, you know, a lot of people didn't figure it out. They reported
she's
it.
an Aggie.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that has what to do with the story, Mr. Bortz?
Because I'm Texas A&M, she's Texas A&M, and I'm embarrassed. Our school has more integrity than that.
We're going to get back to this topic with you in just a little bit. Let's go over to Wall Street now. Carrie Lee is... Back, I'm Rick Sanchez, picking up on a story we were just talking about moments ago. Neil Bortz has just entered the studio, sitting to my right. Neil Bortz is a conservative talk show host who reaches a libertarian talk show host who reaches some 5 million people a day. And he had this story, he says, nailed this morning.
Well, last night, when the story came through, I'm doing my program notes, and I put in my program notes, there's something wrong here. This doesn't add up. And then, because I slept poorly, I took it out when I posted the notes. But by the time I went on the air this morning, I'm saying me and my sidekick, Royal Marshall, were saying, this is not right. This is bogus. There's something really wrong here. And oh, I got the hate mail.
Did you?
Oh, you're calling this girl a liar. Who are you to call this girl a liar? You're in the tank for Barack Obama. Yeah, right. And but this one was pretty easy to figure out early on.
Well, you know, a lot of people didn't figure it out. They reported
she's
it.
an Aggie.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that has what to do with the story, Mr. Bortz?
Because I'm Texas A&M, she's Texas A&M, and I'm embarrassed. Our school has more integrity than that.
We're going to get back to this topic with you in just a little bit. Let's go over to Wall Street now. Carrie Lee is home. This is Karen. She says, Todd's story sounded odd to me from the outset. She agrees with Neil Bortz. The swiftness with which they ran indicates a desire to fulfill a particular agenda other than quality news. Talking about news organizations that ran with this story. Joe Faux Plumber, meet Sally Self-Mutilator. Interesting. Big question now is if she was put up to it, and if so, by whom? All right, we could go on forever, but let's leave it at that. Those are some of the ones that have been coming in just moments ago.